I feel like.
Good evening and welcome to a very special one-off episode, and today we're going to be previewing Scouring of Stirlingshire number 11. Is that right? I've forgotten already. I think it's Scouring 11.
Number 12.
All right,
Yeah,
12. Good start, Andy boy. How are we all doing then, Dave, Mark, Liddell?
Good.
I don't know.
Yeah, doing good. I'm excited for the weekend, so still busy though. Busy.
This time of recording is actually this weekend coming up, so must be a long time in the planning, and it just kind of comes round to November, and then here we are, right?
I mean, we all start the prep work in about August usually for the November, so we're at it for a few months, but these last couple of weeks before it definitely get quite busy when you're just trying to tick all the extra boxes and get the lists in, which we're going to look at some of them today on the episode.
How many players have we got then?
64 players, so 128 lists.
That's slightly higher than normal.
Yeah,
or do
we
always
managed
get
to
that much?
get an extra couple of tables in. The tables up at the back of the ones just in front of the door. Steve was able to extend those tables slightly, so I think they were like 7x4s, which means you could only fit one table on it, but he's extended them to 9x4s, so you can now fit two tables on them, so that fit an extra two boards in to take us for 64, so we breaking their own record
That's
again.
cool, yeah, it must be, that's got to be the record in Scotland, right?
In Scotland, yeah. I mean, I don't know so much for other games, but I feel like it's one of the biggest tournaments in Scotland, full stop, because like certainly in Common Ground, there's like say 40k and fantasy and things like that. They use bigger boards than us, so they can't fit any more players in than what we've got. So I think for talking to Steve, it's the biggest tournament they'll have had in Common Ground for any tabletop game. And I don't think
Doubles events, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, in terms of players as opposed to participants, maybe doubles could have been bigger.
Yeah. What's the most you had when it was doubles at Last Alliance? Can you remember, Liddell? Because that was quite a big one.
43, but that was including me.
That was
43 players, yeah, not 43 teams.
Yeah, 43 players, yeah.
But that's cool, man. I mean, the thing is as well, after 12 years, there could be an argument that, you know, if you don't keep on top of the quality, it can go, rather than grow, it can actually, you know what I mean, fizzle away a bit, especially with there's a lot more competition now for you, because probably when you started there was next to nothing, and now there's loads of events, so well done.
I mean, in terms of Scotland, yeah, I mean, we were the only event in Scotland for the first few years, the GBHL, and now there's like 20 odd events in Scotland each year, which is brilliant. But no, just to see it keep going is great, and I think we are definitely happy with you look at some of the other GBHL hundreds in England, and that maybe they've hit the same numbers, but they've struggled with the sellout. So like, whereas we sold out day one, so really, really appreciate the support and stuff for the Scottish community and some of our regulars that travel up and have been coming for years as well. Like, it's great because you get the tickets sold early, and it just definitely helps with buying prizes and all that sort of stuff that we've been keeping us busy for the last few months.
Well done. I mean, it might just seem like for yourself maybe that, I guess it's kind of hard. You probably don't get a whole load of feedback. I mean, maybe you do, but a lot of the time you put a lot of effort in. But I mean, with the ticket sales, like you say, being so consistent, it's kind of speaks for itself, because I think everybody knows you've got to be on the buzzer to get tickets for the event, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, that's feedback in itself, the fact that people are still, like, you see people setting alarms and stuff like that just to get tickets. So when you've got that kind of feedback for the players that they're desperate to come and desperate to make sure they get tickets, that's really positive. But the feedback we get after the event is always pretty strong, and we try and act on any improvements. If people say, oh, this could be a wee bit better, that we'll always try and improve it for the next year. So it's good.
Yeah, it's class. Well, with that in mind, as like I say, it's just this weekend coming up, and what we thought we would do is just kind of have a dive into some of the scenarios we're going to be playing. 6 scenarios. It is actually one of the few remaining, if not only, that I'm aware of, good vs evil system, so you're always playing good v evil. And obviously with the lists we're going to be taking, we'll go a bit into that, but the scenarios first of all, I guess we can run through them, but were these randomly determined then, Dave, or was there a bit of thought behind this?
No, so there is quite a bit of thought process in it. Obviously, the match play guide had just come out. We kind of got our hands on the match play guide, wanted to have a look, and looking through them, we want to use the pool systems, so one for each pool, and then going through it, we've tried to try and get a decent mix of different categories. So you see we've got 3 of the brand new scenarios, so there was the 6 new scenarios in the match play guide. We've taken 3 of them and we've stuck with 3 of the older ones. Then in looking at like percentages, the game end conditions, so like there's break 1-2 missions, 25% missions, we've gone for a 4-2 split in that, which is sort of representative for how they are in the book, in terms of there's roughly double 25% missions in the out of the 24 than there is break 1-2, so we'll try to reflect that in the ones that we've picked. Banner VPs is a big one. We spoke about that in one of the early episodes. We've only got 2 that use banner VPs, but they are scenario 1 and 2, so you can look at that both ways, but we felt that way people if you only take a banner in one mission and the banner VPs were in different pairs, you could be really lucky and avoid it, but equally you could be really unlucky, and that your army that doesn't have a banner, you have to get punished by playing a banner mission twice. So we've tried to make it fair and balanced by putting the 2 banner missions as game 1 and 2. Hopefully they have a little bit less impact there as well, because sometimes with them being the first games, you can kind of play through the luck of the draw. It depends who you're up against, but usually with Swiss you can hopefully get yourself a wee bit slightly easier match there, and they shouldn't have such an impact further on. So we'll try to go through that and just pick a balanced set of scenarios. I think the one thing, and I have had a little bit of feedback from some people that maybe weren't so keen, that we've taken with Escort the Wounded, heirlooms and treasure hoards, we have got 3 missions that sort of involve carrying objectives around. That might be a little heavier, and we've got less of the sort of traditional objective-based scenarios, like ones where dominant, for example, would matter. We've gone a little lighter on that maybe than we could have done in the past, so that might be one though that I think maybe next year it might well be the opposite. Like I have a spreadsheet that I keep of the scenarios that we've used every year, so like dating way back to the very first tournament, and we always try and make a few changes each year. So no, certainly guaranteeing anything, but maybe next year that will be reversed and there will be a few less object carrying scenarios and a bit more sort of static objective ones. But that was sort of thought process behind it. There's always put a bit of thought into ones that we want to avoid and ones that we want to put in, and try and go through every tournament in the course and edition as well. Every scenario throughout the course of the edition. We probably want to try and use most of them anyway. And Scouring obviously is always our trademark scenario, which maybe people don't know, but we've had a custom scenario called the Scouring, which is very similar to what would become heirlooms. Some people might not be super popular with some people, but that's always been our first mission since dating back to 2013. So even now we keep it in as the first mission every year as tradition.
Speaking of your missions, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
What is the mission used the most aside from heirlooms?
In terms of
it'll be Fog of War, right?
Oh no, we've not used Fog of War a lot.
Really?
It's to the death 7 times out of 12 years we've used to the death. Is the muscle.
I'm impressed you know that off the top of your head. That's nuts. Please tell me that was a pre-prepared question from Liddell there, just so you made you look good.
You are the kind of guy that'll have a big spreadsheet of all these.
I do love a spreadsheet.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Pie chart and whatnot.
And then I've got a feeling Domination's probably the second most popular after To the Death.
Yes, no, right, man. I guess, right, okay, so just in case you're a Spotify listener driving to your work, the commute, the missions are Scouring, as Dave mentioned, which is mission 1, which is a bit of a adaptation on heirlooms. Number 2 is Escort the Wounded, which is actually, well, it's one of the newer ones, but it seems to be, had played it quite a lot, so it's obviously been received quite well by the community. Lords of Battle, Fog of War, which we're all familiar with, Treasure Hoard, one of the newer ones, and then to end it all, whoever's playing for the win will be playing on Stake a Claim on Game 6. The way that the good and evil split then works is quickly, Dave, do you roll off Game 1? Well, roll off game 1, and then game 2 you just use your opposite.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Game 1, it'll be roll off. I think we put in the packets the oldest person that rolls the dice. 1 to 3, they'll play evil. 4 to 6, they'll play good. The opponent will use the opposite. And then after that, it's like a modified Swiss, where the good player that did the best game 1 will play against the evil player that did the best game 1, but they'll be using the opposite armies. And then game 3, you roll again. Game 5, you roll again. But game 4 and 6 are that, again, kind of Swiss, but bracketed for good v evil, in the sense that going to game 5 and 6, that if after game 5 and 6, potentially 1 and 2 both use good in the last game, they won't play each other game 6. They'll play maybe players 3 and 4, depending on whoever the highest evil is will be playing whoever the highest good is, and so on.
There's not many good v evil tournaments out there still, right? I mean, certainly for 100-point events, I don't think there's any other ones.
Not many. I know.
If I'm wrong.
Into the West do a thing that's a bit like this, where players have the option to bring 2 armies, but most people, I think, only bring the 1. But the way they do it is you can bring 2 armies, and if you play against someone who's only brought 1 army, if their 1 army, say they've brought evil, you will use your good army if you brought 2, and if both players have brought 2, you just roll off. So it's different for this, in the way that you bring 2 armies and you're guaranteed to use them 3 times, because into the West you could bring 2 armies with you, and it could be like a 6-1 split where you use your good army once and your evil army 6 times or something like that, depending on what you're up against. So I think this and the Lord of the Rings GT or down at Warhammer Road, that's the only other one that really uses this format, to my knowledge.
Cool. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into some of the lists that the 3 of us are taking. Obviously, Dave can't play, which is probably quite upsetting for you, missing out on 100. But we'll run through that, and then what we'll do is, if we've got a bit of time, maybe run through a couple of lists that interest us. I've got one in mind, and run through, for some of the guys listening, we've got some stats breakdown. As Dave says, he's a status man, a database man. So we've got some cool stats just about the upcoming event this weekend. So yeah, what we'll start with is on brand for me and Mark, because Lido let us down. We are both taking a version of Minas Morgul for our evil lists. Very similar. I will hold my hand up and say I have not had a single practice game, so Mark, you can take it away. Why? What's happening here? You won an event with this, right?
Yeah, so I won Dundee earlier in the year. In fairness, I had a pretty woeful performance in my last tournament with it at Rule 2, which we also covered, I think. Whether we covered my performance much, I don't know. I was pretty near the bottom. But yeah, that. So I've had some good results and bad results with it. But it's a list that I'm, despite that, pretty confident with. And I think it's a lot of fun to play, and it sort of generally it can sort of take all comers for the most part. I don't think it has many matchups that are horrific, so I'm happy to play it into near enough any event. What I've ended up going with is the Witch King on Fell Beast, leading 18 guys, 8 Morannons, 8 regular Mordor Orcs, a banner and a drum. A Mordor Captain leading some Mordor Orcs with shield, some with spear, 4 Morannons and a Spectre, another captain bringing another 12 guys, 1 Spectre, and then a fairly even split of shields and spear Mordor Orcs, and then Cardish is bringing a duplicate warband of that last captain. It's we've spoken about it on the podcast before. It's a pretty standard upgrade on the list that I've ran this. On the way I've ran the list at 600 before, I've got Cardish thrown in there, who brings a little bit of magic support. He's got Fury, he's got Flame Burst, can get his will back by killing orcs, which is quite nice, and is able to lead another 12 guys, which is kind of probably the best thing about him, to be honest. And then a fair few more Morannons. I think I've got 12 in the list overall. And that's kind of. Well, that's sort of the size of the list, really. It's can play into most scenarios pretty well. I've got very few matchups that I'm worried about. and I'm happy to take on either side of the scenarios. Really, obviously, we can. There's a sort of a 50-50 chance that you play any given scenario with your list, with your evil list or your good list, and I'm pretty comfortable with this into nearly anything. And it looks very, very similar to yours. Looks over
Yeah.
your side.
This is, by the way, this is not intentional. I mean, we have probably bounced lists. I've certainly bounced lists off you a few times just because I know you've ran it. I'm super comfortable with Witch King and spellcasting from last edition. I just haven't not really settled on an evil list so far this edition, which is a bit of a shame. But for listeners, basically we're taking, it's kind of hilarious to be honest. They're both 58 models, Witch King, both got the Morgul Blades, Fell
Witch King?
Beast, Cardish. Well, not you, Liddle. You're not Witch King. You are Muster of Isengard, so a little bird has told me. So
We'll find out in a minute. But I mean, I am using a king.
Yeah, so the difference with us is just I went for a Taskmaster over the second captain. A couple of trackers in there, but that's by the by, really. Both got the drums. I must admit, pretty much everyone I speak to who's ran this before seems to go for the double captain. I quite like the idea of the Taskmaster. I know he doesn't get Blades of the Dead, but it's just a choice, really. I don't think it's much of a. I don't think it's going to have a drastic difference in how things play. It's probably a bit more forgiving because if I'm not maybe using Witch King's Might brilliantly, perhaps the Taskmaster gets me out of jail a little bit there. But yeah, I think it's more or less the same sort of thing as yourself. In terms of matchups, I'm slightly worried about things like Men of the West. I know that the Blades of the Dead, because the reason why I'm worried about that is I expect a lot of Blades of the Men of the West. I know that you can kill the Minas Tirith guys well, but I just think Legolas is a bit of an issue for the Witch King. And obviously, Elisar's, despite you've got your magic, he's more than capable of resisting. So that worries me a little bit. Have you played that matchup with Minas Morgul?
I've not played that matchup exactly, but I have played against Legolas with it before, and I've played against Aragorn with it before, just not in that exact sort of configuration. And the matchup is a worry. It's not the one that. It's probably not the one that I would be most worried about, but it can be difficult. I think you've got to play against it because you've got stuff like the Hurls can take Aragorn off his horse pretty early, which is big. Men of the West tends to not have. They've not got a bad model count, but they don't have a ridiculous model count. And so if you still have your Fell Beast in your later on in the game, you can end up in a position where they don't have the models to reasonably shield their heroes. And if you can get and Legolas and Gimli are both pretty killable by the Witch King. Not the easiest in the world. They both fight 6, but with the magic support that you have, it's very possible. I don't see it as a nightmare matchup, but it is tricky. They're scary heroes, and Legolas particularly has the ability. If Gimli gets ahead of him on kills early, and he's got the +1 to wounds, he can be a bit of a nightmare for the Witch King with his 1 wound.
Yeah, it worries me a little bit, but I mean, to be honest, it's quite an all-comers list, like you say. Got the drum, your speed, everything like that. Okay, Minas Morgul, it's hardly a... I was just
going to ask if they changed Cardish's spells at all. Is he still running the same spell list he had before, which I think was...
What did he have before? It was Flame
Burst and Fury before, didn't he?
Yeah, so he's just got the same. He's still got Flame Burst and Fury. I don't know if his casting values have changed. He's got them both on a 3-up. I'm not sure if that's the same as it was last edition, but that's what he's got now.
I mean, I think
quite cheeky.
Flame Burst's quite nice just for like pinging banners off and stuff like that, because it is a wee bit harder to protect the banner than it used to be, in the sense that like only the things that can pick up a banner you can pass it on to them. So like things like that, it's just a nice wee tool to have, and the ability to lead the 12 models is really nice as well.
Especially we've each got 3 Spectres, and you've got the Witch King there, so you've got quite a few tools to potentially move models that might be sitting ready to pick up a banner should the banner bearer die. You can engineer situations where the banner's going to get dropped. Not easily, but you've got more tools to do it than most folk do. So people have to be a little bit more wise to it.
And the Fury's always going to be handy as well.
Well, obviously, you do have the army bonus with the Spectres, kind of gives you that fearless thing as well. But yeah, Fury is
It's
also
nice, although it's only for charging Terracosm models, right?
yeah. But
Yeah,
it's,
so
I
once
mean, for all
you
the
get to the
the
end
Glahiers
game,
and things like that, it's still handy. But Ents,
Yeah.
things like that, it's
Aye.
definitely
Bears.
useful.
and given the scenarios, I would not be surprised if we see some Guahirs and Eagles
Yeah.
and the like. In fact,
Yeah.
that's you talk about Bears. That's one of the matchups I really don't like with this list. Is the Bears, and it's one that I would be surprised if we don't see a lot of it. One of the only armies in the game that that the army bonus for giving you Blades of the Dead doesn't do anything, because they're reasonable courage, low defense, and dealing with both the bears is very, very tricky.
Yeah, got a Morgul Blade, and you probably need to one-shot one of them. Easier said than done, good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, I think when it's Morgul, we're hardly reinventing the wheel there. It's pretty cool. We can both take the Witch Kings with us, so maybe that'll give us a bit of fortune. I think we both hope. What I'll do is, just because I've been through both our evil lists, why not let's go through both our good at the same time then. You've gone for Army of Erebor, and I've gone for a bit of a trademark for me this season, which is the Halls of Thranduil. Do you want to take it off? What was your thought with the Erebor?
I think you've got me mixed up there. I'm on a bit of Men in the West.
Ah, you're Men in the
Was
West.
that
my
Army
bad,
Erebor? Wait a minute. That is my fault when I set up the docs. I put the Army Erebor in as yours list, I think, Casper. So we might need to get your Halls of Thranduil up. Apologies there.
As long as you can tell me what the most popular scenario of Scouring in the last 11 years was, you're fine. Get my list
if
wrong.
we want to talk about that Men in the West list, I'll go and get your Thranduil list for you.
This is it here, is it not? Aragorn, Legolas, Aemir.
Yeah, so that's my Men in the West there. It's quite straightforward with one very big difference that's to what you're usually seeing. So at 800 points, you can get quite easily. You can get to about 40 models with a banner if you're bringing Gimli as your third hero. But I've gone and brought Aemir along. So I've got Aragorn, King Elisar leading a smattering of Rohan and Minas Tirith guys. I've got the Minas Tirith shield wall with some 4 thrown spears behind, 2 spear and shield Minas Tirith guys, and then 2 bows in there. I've got nearly a carbon copy warband for Legolas, which is basically the same front wall as Minas Tirith tin cans with some thrown spears behind it, and then some regular fellas, some Minas Tirith spear and shield guys, and a couple of Rohan bows. And then for the third warband, I've got Aemir leading kind of much the same, except I think I've only got the 1 Rohan bow in there instead of the 2, so I think I've got 5 overall. And it's a little different. I'm down to 38 models overall instead of the regular about 40 that you get with Men of the West most of the time if you're bringing along Gimli, and I don't have the banner. But I think Aemir's pretty fantastic for his points. He's a big fight 6 hitter with his additional wound rule on the 6s and things. Gives me another legitimate threat next to Aragorn. Gimli's all well and good, but I don't feel that he poses a big threat to a lot of the premier heroes in the game, whereas Aemir legitimately can. However, the main reason that I'm running it, to be honest, is because I've got a particularly pretty Aemir model that I got off of Chris Cousins that I quite like to use. But I think it's still, the list definitely still has legs the way that I'm running it. Aemir brings an interesting little twist on it, and something that I'm quite excited to be using. I think it'll be fun.
So I've noticed
Rohan Captain, like.
yeah.
The biggest of Rohan Cap.
Yeah. So one thing I've noticed, you don't have any knights at all. Bit of a, is that right? I didn't see any knight there, did I? You don't have any
knights.
mount.
As in Minas Tirith
can.
Knights?
Yeah, you don't have any. Do you? I can't read. Can I?
No,
have
you
any mounted
can't
troops?
you can't take them in that list.
Can you not?
No.
I thought you could. I thought you could if you weren't taking like Gwahir.
It's just
No,
yeah, so the rule with
Gwahir.
The rule with Gwahir is that you can't take any cavalry units if you've got them. However, that's to stop you putting the heroes on horses.
It's
'cause it
just
gives them the
heroes.
cavalry
Yeah,
keywords.
that's right.
Yeah,
actually,
so you can in theory get knights, I suppose, because there's Knights of Dol Amroth in the list, but you can't. They come on foot.
That's right. Yep.
That might be
That's
where
right.
you've
Yep.
seen it. If you've seen
No,
Knights of
I'm
Dol
just
Amroth,
talking
then
mints.
no.
Because I was just wondering, because at least I guess one of the benefits you do have is now you kind of, generally speaking, Aragon on the horse is sort of your main speed. Obviously, you need him to be central because it's the banner and Elisar, but I guess Aemir can be a bit of a rogue warrior for you at times. He can sort of achieve things that maybe Gimli wouldn't.
Yeah, so they're both fast. They're both fast models, and especially with Aragorn having the free might every turn, he's more capable than most of using heroic combats to slingshot models into the right place if when you need it. If you're at the end of the game on need to get someone onto an objective or something, you can ping them that way. The troops aren't the most mobile, but also having the constant free heroic marches on Aragorn makes the list deceptively fast. Not having Cav is a big downside of the list. And I think the only other real access to anything quick that the list has access to is bringing Gwahir, which, looking at the scenarios, is something I've very much considered. Because I think the moment you have a good amount of scenarios that require you to carry something, a flying monster is immediately very helpful. And it's a way that I considered going, and Gwahir was possibly my favourite model of the last edition, and I've not used him much
he's
this
only
edition.
got better. He's only gotten better, really.
Aye. So it's something that I really was considering trying, but as I say, I wanted to use that Aemon model.
Quite right. It's I like your thought process, sort of something different. I mean, Men of the West, I don't think we need to go into too much detail, really. I mean, I expect, which we'll probably come on to at the end with the stats, a lot of Men of the West. It's just so good, really. I mean, actually, it's funny because you don't even really speak much about your army bonuses with them because you're getting Elisar, he's the man. You're getting Legolas, he's the man. You have access to Gimli, Aemir, but the dominant two thing's so cool. It's so good in these scenarios.
The dominant two is fantastic. It's for Frodo thing where you're getting the +1 to win, or +1 to fight bubble. Sorry, it's really strong as well. I think the scenarios, as Dave was saying earlier on, I don't think lean into your dominant values particularly well. State the claim is one that it matters for. Fog in theory, I suppose, but it's even less prevalent there. But other than that, that's kind of it. But it's still quite big. I mean, I played against in a matchup that would otherwise be fairly even, ended up having to play Men of the West in whole ground towards the start of the year, and it was just a nightmare because of that dominant too.
Yeah.
But the army bonuses are really good.
I think the big thing, as you said, is the free heroic march on Aragorn, just to make it that bit more mobile. I noticed she's had both gone for drummers in your Minas Morgul list as well, which I think is important because I think the mobility. I think the scenarios. Not saying that if you don't have mobility in your list you won't do well, but I do think that mobility is definitely a handy tool to have.
I guess is a good sort of pathway into my good list then, because one of the things I worry about is lack of march. I've actually, to move on from the Men of the West, I've gone from the Halls of Thranduil. Now, one of the big pivoting points in Halls of Thranduil is obviously Toriel being arguably one of the best models for our points, really. But every time you go down that route of Toriel, you're just very likely not going to have march because Legolas, standard, Thranduil, standard. And then not having that march, it's a bit of a shame, really. But I say if you're Men of the West, you're getting that in buckets, really. And your Minas Morgul list is very quick. So I guess just to go into the Halls of Thranduil I'm running, I don't think I'm reinventing the wheel much here at all, but I just have such a soft spot for them. I don't honestly think that I'm the best suited to them, but Thranduil was just, he's great, Legolas, and I went for the Glaive Captain, so I do have March. Bit of a shame not being able to run Toriel, but I just feel like a bit of a penny dropped for me earlier this edition where I do think March is absolutely essential in these scenarios, in pretty much all packs, really. And getting 42 elves is really good. I actually do have 4 cav. Or did I go for I went for the 4 cav list. I think Mirkwood Knights are just shit hot for their points, to be honest. Getting fight 6 cav Obviously, the defence 5's a bit annoying, but you can play around that a bit better. I went for the Sentinel, 2 Sentinels, because how am I going to deal with Balrogs? And I expect quite a few Balrogs. And as much as that isn't a great way of dealing with them, it's certainly a way of dealing with it if you get lucky. And also, I expect a lot of Cribane. So I kind of thought, I actually had a list with 3 Sentinels, because the Sentinels are so good against Cribane. You can pick them off one by one, you're a bit more in control of how that works. But I think the 4 Cavs cool, 2 Sentinels cool. I actually really like my list. I just don't know. I don't have a banner, obviously. I don't know how well I'll do. I sort of have a love-hate of Thranduil. Anyone's played against him, it's all well and good. You get free heroic combats. It doesn't happen very often. It doesn't. It's so naff that his banner effect doesn't affect him. Doesn't affect Thranduil or Legolas. It's only warriors. So generally speaking, you've got 3 attacks, and he's not a Lord of the West. He's not got a banner. It's a bit naff, really. But yeah,
I was never a fan of that back in the old Return of the King, when Aragorn was a banner for the ghosts. But he never obviously got the banner effect, so you still wanted the banner in the list to affect him, but it was just a 25-point banner just for Aragorn at that point.
And you've
you don't even have
not
the
even have the
option.
option, as you say, with Thranduil's Halls. But I think that the numbers wise, it's brilliant. Like to have 42 elves, like such high quality troops. I think the D5 on the knights isn't such a bad thing in Good versus Evil because of the lack of strength 3 shooting. It would only really be if you were playing against like a lot of scouts or something like that that's going to have the strength 3 bows or crossbows, but that then crossbows doesn't really matter.
There's also a lot of strength 4 as combat.
Yeah, so I think that's okay, and having four mounted guys is great. Again, in the missions, as we mentioned, I mean, you do have to dismount to get some of them, but even just being able to get to some of the heirlooms that are further away for you, and maybe burn an heirloom, like that's worth sacrificing the horse just to do that. You can't carry the wounded guys while you're on your horse, but the wounded guys start right in front of you, so that's less an issue.
You don't really burn heirlooms anymore, Dave.
You still have to go to them, and then you see which one is a decoy and which one is not. You get points for it. You get victory points for uncovering it, but you're probably hoping, say, there's one that's quite near your opponent's army. Maybe you want to throw that Mirkwood Knight over there, dismount. Not only are you getting the victory point and denying him the victory point for the decoy, but you're hoping that it's not the actual heirloom, and then the heirloom will be nearer your army. So having the option to go and do that, really useful. And just the numbers I like. And Legolas tech is always really good.
Yeah, the knights for 16 points. The more you use them in this list in pure halls, not obviously in Battle of 5 armies, you don't get the same sort of stuff, but in pure halls, even you still get a +1 to wound, being near Thranduil. So for 16 points, it is only 3 inches for the +1 to wound, but they're so good. I think there's a bit of a points sort of thing as well. Like you can end up, the points become a bit weird with what you've got left over. You could go for more Palace Guard, but I mean, I do have 2 Palace Guard. They're pretty cool, and a lot of glaives. And the glaives are just class. The glaives are absolutely class. So yeah,
those knights could charge and kill a fight 5 hero quite easily.
Yeah, they're shit hot, man. I mean, like the also the +1 fight value is actually a 6-inch range from Thranduil. So whilst the +1 to wound's only 3, fight 6 is 6 inches, which, with how you play with the army, it's quite a bubble around Thranduil. The 6 inches is pretty useful, especially if you're just like standard fighting line. You get your knights round the side.
Is that bigger than it used to be?
I don't know. I just got them for this edition. Not too sure. I actually have this plan to run a full mounted Mirkwood army, but I'm not going to go into that. So that's another thing.
Yeah, I think they'll really like the second set, Lords of Battle and Fog of War. I think they should play quite nicely in that, unless you're unlucky in Lords and you play against like a really tiny evil army, which there are some, but I think they like that middle pool. And if you can do all right in the first 2 missions, just off of the back of like player skill matchups, etc., you've set yourself quite well up for the middle. So put your
And the thing is, it shoots well, it fights really well, it's quite fast with the 4 knights. I do have the march if I need it. I've got Legolas, I've got a fight 7 hero in Thranduil.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I mean, that is one event. I think it won the
Masters.
Doesn't the GT
GBHL,
won the
GBHL
Masters?
Masters, yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of the things throughout the year. The banner missing didn't impact it the way I thought it would. Whilst it's not great, it's not. It's more that actually not the VP's problem. The banner. It's more just you want a banner for your elves that isn't just Thranduil. It's everything revolves around Thranduil, and I think things like Maelstrom, when you get split up, or when you want to be split up to maybe get this objective, that objective, I feel like that's when at times it falls. But anyway, I love using it, so that's the way we went. Let's move on to Mr. Alan Liddell, who has gone for the Defenders of Helm's Deep. I mean, is there a more Alan Liddell type of army? And Master of Isengard.
I'm not used to shooting, so I figured I would take a shooting list for a change.
Try out.
Aye, see what all the rage is about, you know.
Yeah.
No,
Liddell. Give us a run through of the start with your Helm's Deep, then go with the hero choices.
I was going to go with you guys, but if you say so, boss.
Mix up.
That was the one I gave Dave the evil list a while ago, but there was a bit of gap because I was tossing and turning between the whole Defenders list and Men of the West, of course, seeing as I just won an event with them. But no, I was just looking at the scenarios and seeing like Lord's Battle. I'm like, sit back and shoot, you know. try that.
Sean, as if you needed Lord's Battle. You'd sit back and shoot on recon if you could. They even start.
He has done. I can confirm.
Well,
that.
I mean, guys are coming towards you. I mean, you shoot them, like. It's like no man's land. They're crossing that field. I'll just sit there in my trench. It was difficult, but I mean, I was leaning more towards them in the first place, and I didn't want to change my mind just because of Celtic Conquest. I was like, nah, I'll not get too much into my head. I'll stick with this new tactic of shooting, you know. So it was just a wee tweaks here and there. It was just going to be the copy and paste that I took to Clydewater earlier in the year, which I ended up coming fourth at. So, but then I tweaked it and chopped out Legolas for Gimli. Just more of a delay tactic. Like I can throw Gimli into some big hero of theirs and just stall them. Like the fact he's got that extra crate now, he'll just sit there quite happily and take a bit of a beating, unless it's like a Balrog, in which case, shit. But no, it is what it is. Like a fair amount of models. 47. Yeah.
Yep.
Aye.
15 bows, a lot of might, a lot of Fight 6 fighters, a lot of thrown weapons. It's
not as many as I'd hoped, like, but that's Games Workshop's fault.
Alright, yeah, for the limit on that. It's such a morale, like when you play against, let's say it's to the death, and you finally get across the board, you've survived the shooting somewhat, and then you get in close, and then you just get thrown weapons to death. It's so shit, I actually hate it.
I'm not keen on the list now, because like, I used to take pretty much a third of each kind of troop type. Like a third, the Galadron with the archers, they would have spears. I would then have like a third Warriors Rohan with shields, and then a third of Royal Guards, and X amount would have thrown spears. More so on the Royal Guard if necessary, but no, it's just they went up a point. You're capped on the thrown spears. You kind of want as many spears in the list as possible, which means you need to stay away from the Royal Guard and take as many Warriors of Rohan as possible. Which I feel like
Royal Guard are dead in the water this edition.
It's a shame. Like, I mean, the only place that you really want to see them is Riders of Theoden, so they get the fight 5 in the charge.
Yeah.
And because it's an all-cav list, there's like 1 or 2 points difference between them and a warrior of Rider Rohan, so it's not that massive. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
4 points between a warrior Rohan with a shield and a Royal Guard.
That's
yeah,
quite
it's nuts, isn't
extreme.
it?
It has made it means the army's kind of much more a defense 5 army now as well than it used to be. It used to have a bit more d6 along the line, but I still think it's
Well,
pretty
that's why I
good
like
with the
to take
model
it.
limit.
Like when you came up against the strength 3 troops, you had the Royal Guard to throw in their way and hold them up. The strength 4 guys dealt with the warriors of Rohan, backed up with the elves. So they were still dying on 5s anyway, but I'm not losing something as important as a Royal Guard. But I mean, ultimately, you're paying a point for the extra defence, you're paying a point for the extra fight value, and you were paying a point for the bodyguard. Now you're paying an extra point for something.
Good thing
Like,
on one thing I do like about the listing is, from a Fog of War point of view, it's quite difficult for your opponent to know what to target. Like, they got 2 fight 6 heroes. Legolas classically is kept safe. Gamlin being your banner, you're probably going to want to keep him quite safe anyway. So then it's like, well, do you pick Gimli? But I mean, Gimli's not exactly the easiest thing to kill, so it's quite good. Again, I think it suits the middle scenarios quite well. You're really happy if you get in Lords of Battle and you can just try that sit back and shoot tactic that you love. But also the Fog of War as well. It's quite adept at protecting the heroes and kill. You got Legolas to kill enemy heroes as well. So
where I can sit back and shoot.
exactly. So I think it likes the middle missions, which is again similar to the Thranduils in that regard.
So that obviously the Helm's Deeps shoot everyone to shit in terms of your evil list. What was the plan there?
theory.
What have you gone with there?
Evil list of, again, earlier in the year. I've not actually ran Evil this year that much at all. So I just kind of stuck with what I took at the first Dundee event I went to. That was Muster of Isengard. So that was more of a Berserker spam. In fact, it was just after DTC, and it was pretty much just using that list that we took. I think that had like 20 Berserkers or something. Sounds about right. Double
So
banner.
for the audio listeners, Liddle, just cut you off there. I'm going to just run through your list. You've gone for Saruman. Does he have an option of the horse on this list? I
He
know
does have
I
an
wouldn't
option,
take it.
yes.
You have the option, so you haven't gone for the horse, which I think is probably correct. Grima, best model in the game, if you ask me. Vrasku, very Liddle-esque. And an Urukai captain, like you mentioned, it was 2, 4, 6 berserkers. You got a banner in there, just 2 banners,
Two
which is
banners.
cool. And a whole bunch of Urukai.
13 crossbows there's another big thing to highlight.
There's a theme with Liddle. Surprise.
It's end of the year. Let's shoot some snowballs at people and hope to kill things. Yeah, no, it was
Muster of
just
Isengard, is that the one? That's the free march, is it? No.
pre-march for the Urukai captain, which obviously will come in handy for some of the scenarios.
Thrasku gets it as well. I think it's Urukai heroes that get the heroic strike is specifically just on the Urukai captain.
I
Is
hope so.
Vrasku
We'll find out in a minute.
Legends?
He's a legacy profile, yeah.
Legacy. Grima is just, it gives you so much flexibility on scenarios. You're also knowing you're going good v evil.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's Urukai heroes.
Urukai heroes. Yeah, totally knew that. That's why I took it. No, like I said, the list I think will go favour into the scenarios, and expecting again because it's good versus evil. I'm expecting to come up against a fair amount of men, so I now hate them.
Yeah. Also, they can't deal with Grima. Like, you're not worried about a Black Dar or Fireburst.
Yeah, Grima's pretty safe. There's like Gandalf's, of course, but there's very few lists that he's going to pop up in.
You're more likely to play against the Theoden as well than you would be in a normal tournament with being good versus evil. To get that ability off.
Yeah. Make him
cool. Is there anything in particular then? So Muster, I think you're a bit like me. You don't think you really had much of a transition into this edition on evil list, because didn't really settle on anything, have you? For
I was
evil?
speaking to Dave earlier, and I was thinking I think taking this to the Dundee event that I came second in was the only time I've taken evil this year, perhaps. I could be wrong, but I can't think of any other event that I've used evil.
On
So
that-
it was just a case of sticking with what I've used and what I've run.
I think
I
that's the
like
best
it.
policy, mate.
Yeah, I think you know what you're doing with it, and I do think it is Muster Isengard, as you said, is a really good sort of meta call for good versus evil because of the fact that you're going to be playing against men, so you get the hatreds, a bit more likely to come up against the Fade, and I think it's good into it plays well into good armies. So that's what it wants to be playing against.
It's very unlikely to bump into anything that it really doesn't like, and anything that does dislike, it's going to be contextual to the scenarios, right? Like if
Yeah.
it bumps, like Radagast Alliance is one that's probably going to be quite good at this event based on the scenarios, and there's a few like if you come and bump into that in the
Yeah.
wrong scenarios, you might
And
struggle. But
What
that's
scenario
good
two again?
regardless.
Scenario 2 is it Escort the Wounded, I think.
Squad of Wounded.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
You got the free march as well, as we said. The free march again is really good for that bit of mobility, so
Because of the
I like it.
because of the Throne Spears, I kind of want good first and then evil.
I think to move on, because we've got a lot of stats to come up here, I've very quickly wanted to, don't spend too much time on this at all, is go through one of the lists that I noticed that one of our good friends of us have taken, and he's been trying to convince me for about a month now that it's good. He's actually, for his evil list, gone for the Spiderwings Brood. Now, have any of you guys had any time to look over this? Are you familiar with this Legion?
I've had a little look at it, and I actually own, with the exception of the Mirkwood Hunting Spiders, which I think are the big base ones, or maybe that's changed, but whatever the big base resin ones are, I don't own those, but I do own pretty much the rest of it, and it's on my painting list, put it that way. So I think it does have a bit, maybe just a bit of fun potential, but I do think it could be alright. Like,
I don't know if I'm spending too much time with Dobie or I'm actually starting to get convinced that it's quite good because the Spider Queen's Brood is what it's called. Is Spider Queen's Brood.
Yeah, Spider Queen's Brood.
Not going to go into this too much, like I say, but he has gone for how many bats? 2, 4. Just the 4 bats.
Eight bats.
Eight
yeah.
bat swarms. Now, obviously, in a Crebain meta just now, it's a similar concept of what they do. Obviously, with the half in the fight value, but what's quite cool in this Legion is they can all pick up objectives because it's just part of the Legion, including now. I didn't fact check this, but apparently even the Broodlands can do it as well. So everything, as we all know, the Spider Queen is rapid. The bats are rapid. They can pick up objectives, like they can move the wounded and things like that. The other thing, right, I just want to cover this because it's a bit different, is they get the little webs that they deploy, I believe, after deployment. It's like are they 3-inch width, or is it maybe, I don't think they're 6, it'd be too big.
So it's after both sides are deployed, player using this can place 4 25mm, so just standard infantry size base web markers on the board. They cannot be set within 3 inches of an enemy model or an objective marker, and not within 6 inches of the board edge or within 9 inches of another web marker. And then any non-spider model within 3 inches of that is considered to be in difficult terrain. So you can put quite a bit.
That's cheeky.
It is, yeah.
That's cheeky, by the way. Like, if you're playing, like, if it's going to be, the only thing is I didn't realise it couldn't go to 3 inches of objective.
3 inches an objective marker, but that's still, like, you can almost block off one side of an objective marker in terms of, like, the way that people are coming into it.
So if you're playing, like, I take it if you're playing, like, Stake a Claim, it's got, like, an actual, like, the objective mark. It's not from the centre of it, it's obviously just from...
3 inches from it, so it'll be from, like, again, the Stake a Claim objectives are 25mm bases, the same size.
Yeah.
And there's 5 of them.
But, like, see with the choke points making it difficult terrain for an army to move through, that's annoying.
And we are a bit more
or
terrain
like-
heavy than your average tournament as well, so there will be there'll definitely be choke points out there that you can chuck one of these wee things down, and then suddenly that entire choke point is a difficult terrain.
Tons of bats, Spider Queen, Mark Liddell. Any closing thoughts on this? I just thought we'd cover something completely random, and it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if it done quite well. I think it's decent.
Nah, push. I'll just shoot it.
I think Liddell probably has a better matchup into it than I do. I thought.
I don't think he will
I'd
shoot it,
struggle
mate.
against this much.
There's 8 bats. Like, literally, if he wants just to charge you and completely block your fighting lines, then you're not shooting nothing.
The other
Shoot it.
the other things that are quite cool about the Spider Queen is that the on a free plus, if she takes a wound on a free plus, she can just pass that wound on to Spider that's within an inch of her. So
Really?
so suddenly your Spider Queen that was free wounds 0 fate is now free wound almost unlimited fate.
Yeah.
And she
That's
can
hilarious.
get her if she ever uses her might on her move and loses the roll off, she gets the might point back, which is really nice because you only have 3 might in the army. So like if you're forced to spend it on a move, at least you're only spending it if you win the move, which is such a good thing. So like I quite like it. I don't think it's bad at
I
all.
don't think it's bad. I don't
That
think
That
it's
does make
bad.
the Spider Queen like nigh immortal. The issue is, even with that rule, it has fucking no might.
I think the
And
biggest
that's
problem with
a
it
worry.
is that the spiders that used to be fight 4 are now only fight 3. The other ones are
Yeah.
fight 2 and on a big massive base, although they do get to throw out a load of paralyzes, which is where, like, say, your Aragon and stuff's going to be having potentially a bit of sad time mark. But being fight, the smaller spiders going down to fight 3 from fight 4, I think that really hurts, especially in Good for Evil, because you're going to be outfought by pretty much every single good army, and that's a bit of sad.
But they're still
thanks to Minas
strength
Tirith.
5, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're still like strength. They're not poisoned though. The spiders, they're strength 5. Maybe rerolling ones. or
Yeah, they
something. I
have
can't-
poison rather than venom. I think you needed Ashrak to make them venom, but she's not on this list. So
Mm.
It's still 2 wounds, defense 3.
still 2 wounds, defense 3. Yeah, they just dropped to fight value.
Shoot them, man. You shoot them.
I honestly don't think you'll be shooting. Fair play.
Yeah,
I don't think. I think in that scenario, it will surprise you because the Broodlands can like charge your line, block some of that off, and then I don't know.
It's so fast, like
It's
you're not
rapid.
like-
yeah.
And the fact that they're
blocking
all
nothing.
like, if you play this army Lido on like Escort of the Wounded, like it's so hard for you because you don't move, and this army just picks up and moves. It's got 8 bats with 3 wounds.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it's
I've clearly spent too
interesting.
much time. I've clearly spent.
I'm
too
not
much
sure
time,
if
don't
we'll
I?
be discussing it on the episode that like the next episode we do when we're discussing the podium list, but I think it's cool to show it off, and maybe we will. Who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if it podium's an event at some point next year, but probably more likely to be a 90 or something like that.
Yeah, I guess
Shoot it.
okay. I
As I
guess
say, I've got it
alright.
on my painting desk, like my painting list. It's maybe not top of that list, but I think I've got like 3 or 4 armies I want to paint up next year, and it's there. So whether that gets done, we'll see.
It's good that it's fast, because then my throne spears can get into the action quicker. Easy.
Oh, well, perhaps so. But the thing is, it wants to win on scenarios because if you want to stay still and shoot, it's going to have all of the. Why am I trying? I don't know why I'm trying to convince
I'll
myself.
see.
Maybe
I'll
it's
see him
that-
in Lords of Battle, mate. I'll see him in Lords of
You
Battle.
will see when
You'll
we
see
look
him
at the stats as we move on to the stats. You will see there is only one Brood of the Spider Queen, but
yeah.
maybe next year, if this goes and does really well, maybe suddenly there's going to be loads of Brood of the Spider Queen lists next year.
I'll see it in Lords
On-
of Battle, and he'll be selling the army on the
On
Monday.
that note, he's probably borrowed it off everyone, mate. He's probably not selling anything unless your name's Ian McGregor. Anyway, right. On the name of stats, I don't want to do this to death. I'm going to put them all up here on the screen for everyone to see, but ones specifically that stand out that are always cool is the evil. Let's do evil generals first. You've got the good generals here as well, don't you? So let's start off with the evil generals. It's a standout representation from the Witch King podcast and the Witch King of Angmar 10. Which is good.
Yeah,
It means we're going viral, boys. I think.
That's
what's happening here.
that.
I think
That's what that means. Yeah.
We've got
interestingly,
that much influence in the Scottish scene now. We've just turned them.
for each of the last, I think this is the least amount of Witch Kings we've had in 5 years, but he's still the most popular evil general. I think for the last 5 years since we've been doing these sort of stats things, every year the Witch King has been the most popular general, still the most popular general, even in new editions. So
I took him
think
for at least
Just
2
tells you how
years.
much of a powerhouse he was last
he
edition.
is the Witch King Angmar C, though, particularly, and A and B are not present at any point.
All right.
I definitely a late resurgence for the Witch King because when it first happened, the start of the year, the headline for him was kind of "Your crown sucks. I'm not using the Witch King anymore." Black Dart kind of got nerfed, Sapwell got removed, but clearly, as the editions moved on, he's got a bit of a popularity, which is obviously
Kind of get nerfed. Got destroyed.
The crown year sucks.
Yeah,
completely.
the difference
was
is
talking
that you just
Black Dart.
don't bother with it now.
I
No,
was talking
Black
Black
Dart's
Dart.
still.
Black Dart's still helpful.
Situationally
It's won
okay,
me games
but-
this edition.
I mean,
It's nowhere near what it was last edition.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous that you got to win things on threes, but
Yeah, it's nowhere
When
near
you-
as good as it used to be, but being able to drop a wound on something behind the enemy lines without having to actually go and fight it or make like the same sort of like do the same sort of in the ways and stuff that you would with shooting will always be good.
Interestingly,
Yes.
looking at the number 2, it does seem that we've got some meta men on the podcast here, where the Witch King being number 1, and then the second most popular general is Saruman.
Yeah, and I guess I'll put up the faction breakdowns in a second, but that is for it's Master of Isengard being the highest representation of Isengard was not on my bingo card, shall I say?
It's got a bonus to specifically fight men, and you know you're going to be playing
yeah.
against good.
I was holding off on saying it when we were talking about it, but I think it's really good in Good versus Evil, and I think the stats agree there. But we'll see how the stats agree based on how people finish, of course, but I think a lot of folk had the same
my
idea.
co-hosts are absolute noobs.
I'm not,
Wait,
I'm not a noob.
am I misreading? Oh, Army
You're
the
not,
White
you're not
Hand
playing.
too.
Tell
It's
you what-
strange. Like we don't. Sorry, Mark.
Anything.
I've noticed in Scotland, what happened? Army of the White Hand was it like in Scotland just didn't happen. It was like I don't know. It was like a conspiracy theory. Like I don't think Army of the White Hand even happened because nobody here really used it, and I'm sure there'll be exceptions to that. But I mean, I think I played it like at Green Hollow against somebody just learning the game. Sort of new guy. He was cool. Was a cool guy, but I mean, what happened? Like,
It's sort of
nobody's running it.
always been the thing with the Scottish scene, right? Like we've never really had a solid meta. Everyone's just kind of taking shit that they think's cool.
It is
for the
there,
most part.
but there is only 2 of them as comparison to Muster, which there is 7.
Yeah.
Also comes
let's
down
go.
to the people that own it. Like, I don't think a lot of people own a lot of
But-
Orc Warriors, a lot of Wildmen.
But
and-
there's probably more usurpers, and the usurpers has been out one of the newest
there are
armies.
more
Yeah, the
usurpers
Wildmen
now,
are
yeah.
appeared.
Yeah,
But
but
people with a lot of
nobody
Wildmen don't
owned,
have a lot of Orcs.
but nobody owned 10 Curbane even a week ago, mate, in the
Yeah,
Alcott
no,
block.
that's true.
The
Talk about
unsurprising
meta slaves.
other general that's in the top 3, tied with Saruman on 9, is the Balrog.
Balrog. Yeah.
Everyone's
That
favourite
can fuck
friend.
right off.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I can't
I
shoot a
don't-
Balrog. Come on, guys.
I think you said earlier.
I just can't be arsed playing my 98th Balrog for this edition.
Aye.
Like, they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
I think you said earlier,
So
Casper,
good
I would be
into good
sad about
evil.
not playing, but actually I see 9 Balrogs and I'm like, nah, I'm pretty happy. Like,
Yeah, I'd be quite. That would have been the only reason. Well, not the only reason, but a good part of the reason to take the Men of the West is
Mm.
because I've got something that can have a go at the Balrog. But
Mm.
the
It
Men's
was-
just no.
That was one of my criteria for picking a good list. I had I was between about 5 lists at one point. One of the things that one of the boxes I absolutely had to tick was I needed to have some kind of an answer to the
Yeah,
Balrog, even if
I-
it's not kill it, but like something that can do something about it.
I just need to hope that I'm using the different army and avoid them that way. But no doubt I'll be playing the Balrogs and Mark won't.
You'll be playing the Spider King's Brood, mate. You'll be fine.
Is-
On
there
the
is,
bottom
there is
as long
only
as
one of
it's,
that,
uh,
as we say.
As long as it's in Lords of Battle, happy.
There are
Yeah.
there's 25 different evil armies though, which I think is actually quite a cool spread. I mean, I know
Yep.
obviously now things are a bit different, but like before we've seen like Mordor in almost half the tournament. And it wouldn't always be pure Mordor. Some of them would be like a Mordor drop, as in you had one warband and Mordor dropped into a Yellow Alliance. But I think 25 armies from 64 players. It's a decent spread. You see the top 3 are well, certainly in generals, the top 3 are miles ahead of the rest, albeit some of them are split across a few different lists. The actual lists themselves, it's only really Depths, isn't it, that stands out as being Depths. There's 9 Adepts and then 7 Muster Isengard. And then after that, you're looking at 5 as being the highest. It's a decent
Yeah.
spread.
Yeah,
Same
there's
with the
40
generals,
40 evil armies that you can take
Like
from,
it's-
so it's just over 50%.
Just over 50% in use. I don't think that's bad
Yeah.
at all, to be honest.
I mean,
No,
if you look at the stats on the evil generals, like it's 10, 10, 9, 9, and then it drops way down to 3.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing particularly stands out to me. I mean, it's interesting because, like you say, Mordor, but one of the big guys that makes my heart a bit sad is the Dragon Emperors. There's 2 of them here, which is, I think it was 2 I've seen he hosted Dragon Emperor
Yeah.
2. I haven't seen it this edition, and I thought this would be a good opportunity for it to make because one of the biggest things he worried about was dragons, and there were so many dragons at the start of the year. They just burn them in one turn, but obviously good v evil, you circumvent that a bit, and the monsters are a problem because they just hit your pikes. So be cool to see how he gets on, or they get on, because he's seems to be again gone. What happened to the Dragon Emperor? Put it, I'm missing.
Well, I mean, you've got it, Casper.
I know. I tried to convince everyone it was good, in part to convince myself that it was good.
I think it is good. I don't think it would have been a bad choice here. I was between Minas Morgul and then one of the 2 variants of Easterlings for my evil list.
Yeah, you got
And
your
the
drum.
only reason I kind of finally settled on Minas Morgul for certain was because I had a friend that wanted to borrow my host of
It's
the
a
Dragon
total
Emperor.
combat army, and you would still be taking the drum. So for the missions, you'd be zooming up the board, grabbing your heirlooms, your partial
Yeah,
dead bodies,
I
treasure.
think it's still good.
stake
The
of claim.
problem is your model count's a bit rough now in comparison
Some
because
of
you
the
lost the Legion. But it'd be cool to see who
Yeah.
gets on because I have a bit of an invested interest there.
The one that
Yeah.
the one that makes me happy is there's 2 of the free trolls, and I think the free trolls are just super cool, and getting to see so many of the abilities in use. And one of the players does not have dominant presence because, as we said, dominant isn't such a factor in this tournament, so that unless they're playing Stake of Claim, don't really need it. So a 50-50 chance, and dominant presence is almost always the auto choice for the free trolls. So
Yeah.
be cool to see some of those other abilities in play.
Fog of War.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay. Good generals. Sorry, Dave. Let's move on to
go for it.
the good stuff.
So
So similar again. Men of the West. I mean, I spoke to Andrew Stone, and I didn't even need to ask. He's been doing well, but it was like Men of the West, Balrog. And I mean, if anyone was sat right on their list thinking they were unique doing that, I think it crossed my mind. It probably crossed Mark's mind. I mean, it's just like no surprises, right?
no,
Andy Stone is the Scouring 2025 meta.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Sex Bjornins, man. That's
I think Bjornins are slept on a little outside of this country.
yeah, not
to
in
be quite
Scotland.
honest,
Like White Hand
Yeah.
slept on, but not
no,
Bjornins.
people love a
Sorry,
Bjorn
yeah.
up here, and honestly, I think they're really good. Like, I don't see why they don't get used as much elsewhere, but it didn't shock me when I saw 6 of them coming in. And there's some good players using them as well, so
Yeah.
it also wouldn't
Saw
shock
that
me if
coming a
they're
mile away.
up near the top tables at the end of the event.
It's
I think
not-
that's part of it being popular in Scotland, right? Is that there's a few of our better players have been playing it, and
So I take it.
folk will see that and
Is
run
it
with it.
spoilers, or is it? Can you say? Is it? I'm assuming Finley's taking the Bjornins, or is that?
That
I don't know if I'm at liberty.
Yeah, I'm
Surely
not
you
gonna.
know Mark.
I
mean,
know.
you can dob him in.
I'm not
Mark
gonna.
can dob him
I'm
in,
not gonna
but Dave
out
can't
people.
because he's the TO.
I know exactly what he's
On
running,
that.
but I
He'll be
don't think I
boring,
should.
yeah.
I should say.
What I do like to see, love to see it, in fact, is that there is 5 Kingdom of Khazad-dûm armies, and I am not one of them.
Right, that is cool. Are there any expeditions into Moria? That's a question.
Nah, just on my t-shirt actually. Got the Super Moria t-shirt there, like.
Oh, you got Moria.
But
That should have been one of the stand-ins. That'd have been class.
maybe yeah.
Actually, no, it shouldn't. They got a stupid rule that I famously dislike.
I mean,
That could have been your
that's-
thematic.
That and the
Good and evil
Balrog.
list. Aye.
That'd have been great as a
Balrog and
standard army.
Balrog.
There's
Two
4
kings,
Return of the
like-
Kings.
It's mad
Very
though
cool.
that like Aragorn is just everywhere, isn't he? Like there is 8 Aragorn King of Lessers and 6 Striders, so 14 out of the 64 players bring in Aragorn in some form as their general. And I don't know if he pops up in some of their lists. He might pop up in some of their lists as a non-general as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
I think Defenders is maybe the only one.
yeah,
There'll be Return of the King lists.
he
I
is
mean, I'm
he is
assuming
in
you
the
can see it.
standing list actually, because the Fellowship is the standing good army, so I can say that.
How many Return of the King
yeah.
lists are there?
There is
a Return of
This is not good podcasting.
King. Yeah, apologies.
Yeah.
Return of the No, it's up there.
Great
It's
audio
4.
listener,
Return of
that.
the King is 4. It's actually the 4th most popular army, and it always has been. Return of the King has always been up there for scouring, and I don't know if that's just because good versus evil. It's quite if you're an evil player, like you were saying, like you're mainly playing good in this edition, but if you mainly play evil and you need quite an easy good army to put together and paint, Return of the King is that army. I think, like, buy some ghosts. Some of them you don't even need to paint nowadays, and you get your free hunters who are cool anyway. And there you go, like, just off you pop and play that. So, not to say
Because
it's
it's
bad,
also-
I just think
it's
it's
an
also
army that
easy,
everyone seems to own.
Yeah.
easy to use, isn't it?
Because it's
I-
good
I-
versus evil, you've got less Fight 4 to worry about on the evil side than you would on the good, I
Yeah.
think.
I agree with that as well.
But I think the army still lacks the Harbinger. Like, being able to win those fights and kill orcs on 3s was just lovely.
No, what it lacks is the fight value in Ghosts is just tragic. It's just absolutely
Oh, it's
tragic.
bad.
They were saying though, up
Yes.
against like the goblins and stuff, it's less an issue.
Aye,
Well,
but
you think
the goblins
that,
aren't
but
the issue, and it's the
it's-
Balrog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could get
But
lucky.
But even then, you've
with-
then
one-shot
got,
him with
you
the King of
can
the
just
Dead.
kill it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Aye. Can I
The,
change my list, Dave?
There's 31 different
The,
good armies, so 31 again. We're
there's
looking
two.
at
Wait. There's 2 Gilgalads here. I mean,
London,
what?
yeah. Aye.
2 Gilgalad generals. I mean, he's just as popular as, I don't know, Thranduil, Girion, Gandalf.
He is
Gandalf,
more
yeah.
popular than Gwyer. As a general.
That's nuts.
That's bonkers. One of them,
Well, 800 points, Eagles don't scale so well.
one of them might be Alex,
And
Danny Walker. He's used Gilgalad in the
I know
past.
he has in the past. I can't remember what he's using this time. Again, I only see half the armies. Not that I'm going to go into what specific people are using anyway, but I also only see
Well,
half of them because Chris checks a lot of lists. But
Yeah, I think one of you should cover good and one of you should cover evil.
that's far too
For future.
complicated. It's nice to just get someone's listing and check it, get ticked off. Speaking of that, we go
Got
on to the model count stats, which I think is
got
quite
some,
interesting.
what you call it, headline stats. Then highest evil model count is a whopping
66.
Well, that's 66. Yeah, that's not that high.
It's not as high as it
really.
could have been, though. It could have been a lot higher than that, but I still quite.
The problem is
fair
that's
amount of
probably
guys.
66 with a Balrog. You know what I mean? It's not even like.
Don't
There's not
think
even
it
just
is off the top of my head. I don't
No, it
think
won't
it's a
be.
Balrog. They're
No,
a bit smaller.
They're in the 50s.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
what a
they're still high model count. Like
shame.
Yeah, no.
that you could have. I mean, I guess the biggest army that Evil sees commonly is Depths of Moria, where it's just spamming Moria captains. But obviously, there's none of that at this event, so that was
Well,
never going to drag the
Lords
numbers
of
up.
Battle being a reason why.
Yeah, like you wouldn't.
The biggest army actually is an Uglik Scouts list. It's one of the Uglik Scouts armies that hits the 66 models.
Is that not what Stephen Demby just took to win Bertacon the weekend?
I think he's certainly been running it
was.
at a few events. Yeah,
It
Denby
was,
has
it
been
was.
running.
Because Demby, that's probably what he's bringing up to this year. Because he's making a late season stomp as well.
Potentially up to second in
Um,
the league, I think, once the rankings get updated.
If he wins this, then yeah. I only know that because I listened to the latest Golems Gamers, which was cool. But yeah, so I'm
You've got
assuming
time to listen to that, but you can't reply to us. Very good. Moving on.
although you need to earn my replies anymore of your cheek, you'll be getting punted live.
But no, when you
I
look at
reckon
the
if I put it up-
average, so the average model count, I think, is quite interesting because the average evil model is 44, and then you were saying that good list that you're running, Casper, of 42 models, like on average, you're only outnumbered by 2 models, and yours as well, though. Your Defenders of Helm's Deep is outnumbering the average evil army.
What evil? So what?
I mean, the 3
see,
trolls bring that down pretty fucking
The 3
much.
trolls
like,
do bring it down, and I think there's like Dragons of the North and stuff
And
in
there's
there
2
as well
instances.
that brings
was gonna
that
say,
down.
Dave,
But
What is that? I can't really see in this graph. Is that the evil lowest model count? Is that 2? What
Free.
is that?
And
That'll
it
be
is the
free
free
trolls,
trolls,
yeah.
yeah. There's 2 free trolls, and I think there might be one of the Dragons of the North as well that's a free model list.
And the
There's
lowest
6
good
of them.
model count must be Ents or maybe
It's 6, yeah.
Eagles.
There's Fangorn, and there was another one that was 6 models, but Fangorn certainly.
Yeah, with the Eagles, I think. I think there's an Eagles list there. Go ahead.
There's like
no,
the
it's not. It's
Raddy's
Men of the
Alliance.
West.
Raddy's Alliance as well is smaller.
Nah, an Eagle list would get you to 8.
Yeah. But Rari's Alliance, if you pay for Bayon
yeah.
and obviously Radagast on his Eagle and stuff like that, you end up with a bit less. But aye, nice spread, and like numbers wise, nothing too crazy this year. Like in the past, we do have a model cap at 80, but like we see people quite frequently hit it, whereas this year not nearly as much on the big side, but a lot of stuff in the sort of 30-40 range. That's where most armies are sitting in, and then a few outliers where people have gone, as I say, these 3 model armies or 6 model things. But I guess you lose the access to do all hero as well as what you used to. In the old edition, you would see quite a few just all hero armies that were just kind of soupless with heroes for different factions. You can't really do that now. If you want to take all hero, you're having to take very specific heroes, and it's not quite as good as what it used to be. So
I seriously considered doing all hero Men of the West again. that was an option, but
Defenders of
ended up
Pelennor
going away
as
from
well is maybe another one you could do, kind of all
Yeah.
hero.
I think it's the kind of thing you think it's funny, and then you
Pelennor
get
would
up
be better.
there, you get there day one, and then like you lose your first match with it, and you're like, what the hell have I done? I've had that thought a few times.
Yeah, I don't.
Like with
I think it would
Gilgalad
have been
especially.
fairly playable if you hit the scenarios right.
I don't know,
But
man.
I think you,
there's something that it could get. It could
Yeah.
get slapped in a number of situations.
Yeah. Cool. Well, what we'll
You're
do then?
chasing 3rd place, Mark, so need to be smart.
What on Top Scott?
Aye.
yes, there's a few
Oh.
people in the
I mean-
the mix for that.
Casper, you're the only one that's not chasing anything, really.
Could pull off
Oh.
this if I end up getting the 10
Careful.
points for this and then do well at Fraser's event. I could end up pulling the same stupid upset as I did last year.
Yeah, I could jump
In
to
theory.
late last year quite heavily.
I'll
Ian's the only
certainly
person that can catch.
be
Yeah.
casting an eye over how people are doing, because I mean I'm 3rd in the region at the moment and 4th in Top Scott, I think. Although so
Yeah, there's
Mostly
a big
Top Scott.
implications for
My my
It's,
season could be really determined by how other people do at this event and what I have to do at the last couple of events. But it's cool to see people fighting for stuff at the end of the year, and I mean that's one of the good things about the Scouring being a big. I think it helps us build the hype for the event that is so late in the season, and it is like the biggest tournament in Scotland and one of the big GBHL hundreds as well. That people are positioned historically, like people have won the league or the top place player in the league has changed hands at Scouring and that sort of stuff. It always has something to say,
Happened
which
last
is
year,
cool.
didn't it?
A lot of points.
It was off the back of Scouring that
Rawson winning
Rawson
it.
locked in the league
It
one.
was last
The
year.
only
Yeah.
the only people that can catch Finlay are Ian and Stone.
Well, I think
See how they do.
Ian and Finlay are definitely the two that they'll be watching each other closely. Ian's what a stomp to the end of the year. Finlay, bit of a wobble a little bit. But he's been taking different lists, but you've got to see the year out. So
That's
big event
And
really for everyone.
The one thing
If either
with,
of them are listening, I will take bribes.
with
Yeah, he was trying to make canned meta, like, but
Hi. But we're still yet to even have a Scottish player hit 2nd, far less 1st. And I think this year is the year that do me wrong, there's some good players coming for down south, but I think this year, if there was ever going to be a Scottish winner, or at the very least a Scottish 2nd place, this is the year for it. So,
Well, yeah.
good luck.
Got Dembe and Farmer to have a say about that.
And there's a few others as well. There's a
I
few
like
other
you say if
capable
there
players.
is a year for a Scottish 2nd place, it's this year, not a win.
So that's just the Scottish
that's not-
mentality. It's like
Never be too
like how can
confident.
you? So how do you qualify for World Cup? Well, if we don't lose to Greece, and then
That's very
it's
topical.
never like just
Yeah.
it's never.
I
Just beat
believe in
everyone.
Alex the Beast Bodas. It'll happen.
I'll stop them in his
That's true.
tracks. Like if he's taking the Uglock Scouts, just give me him in Lords of Battle. Show him the shit.
Yeah.
Hi.
Cool. I'm going to end it there because we did promise to keep this one a bit shorter. Hopefully that was interesting for
Yeah.
everyone. Absolutely
I
buzzing
should
for
push
this
for an hour and a
weekend.
half.
The one thing that is worth
Yeah.
mentioning, we did speak about last episode about a giveaway. This has been a bit of a
Yep,
special
that's
episode
100%.
and an extra thing that we've added in for Scouring. So in terms of the comments, we're not going to draw the giveaway on this episode. It'll be on the next sort of regular full length
Episode
episode.
7.
So don't think we've forgotten about that. We've not. And if you want to drop some comments on this one as well that are relative to it, we can draw from this too. So
Cool, yeah. We'll fire all the stats we've been talking about on the Scottish page and our page as well.
aye.
And hopefully we can come back for a bit of a recap of the event. Hopefully a winner, but I don't
Yeah,
think
well,
it's
I'm
looking good for us.
Hoping that we can have the winner or at least the best. If we do get a Scottish 2nd or 1st, we definitely want them to come on. So whoever it is, we can maybe have you on next time. But it might be all be one of you three guys. So you've
Yep.
got every
on
chance.
that note, I think
Well,
I-
me or Mark, come on now.
I know I'm letting the team down big time, but I think just to kind of close, I think I haven't got as many people on for the interviews we kind of done at the start of the podcast. It's just a bit awkward with timing between the four of us getting time
Yeah.
and getting somebody else on. But I think it would make sense because we're coming to the end of the year. Maybe get Ian on for a chat, some other people on for a chat, but maybe Alex would be cool if he's willing to speak about his painting journey.
There's going to be a bit of a gap in
but yeah.
between post finale and before the next year starts. That maybe some couple of episodes rounding up the year. It would be good to have some other voices, and yeah, just
Cool. Let's get going then. Well, hopefully we see you all at the weekend. I'll try and get this out Wednesday, Thursday, maybe tomorrow if work allows. But fingers crossed with that. And yeah, hopefully catch us next time. On episode it will probably be 6.57, whatever we call it. It's a bit of a mess. But
Scouring part.
either way, tune in and we'll see you then. Okay.
Yep.
Cheers, guys.
see you.
Bye.